just you on your own tapping into little time just to be. So enjoy that and ponder the beauty of how the circle of life, of how life just comes back again. Hi everyone, this is Cherry Enchantress, and this is your daily dust for Saturday the 14th if you're watching in real time, but it can also be for whenever you stumble upon it. It's also just a timeless reading whenever you stumble upon it, whenever you look down and you see a reading and that's the one for you. This is your message. I am transitioning from a series of borderless decks into my Halloween decks. For those of you in real time, it is the Halloween season. And this one is a really beautiful deck called the Tarot Animal that my son gave me. And look at this box, it's just really pretty. This is another one of those decks that checks off all the boxes with a beautiful box. Very nice, sturdy. And of course the backing is gorgeous. And it is edged in this gorgeous metallic purple. So there you have it, and beautiful artwork. So let's give it a shuffle and see what we get. And most importantly, because my son gave it to me, it's one of those artworks that fill up the whole page, where there, instead of like a bar at the bottom, there's like a little rectangle so you can see the words. So that's a good way of doing that too. All right, let's pick from the middle. We have the Penguin Meditation. This is an extra card, so it's not, it's special for just this deck. And wow, Death. That's a pretty Death card. Death also can represent Scorpio, and also it has a very strong Halloween energy to it, but it's actually very, beautiful. At first I thought it was the mushroom card. All right, and let's see what else. Wow, look at the pretty High Priestess. Oh, she's so cute. All right, let's zoom on in and see what we get. So the meditation card, done by Chris Melador. His interpretation is this. The penguin is an animal I have long taken to as an artist, sketching back to the very beginning of my illustration career. To bring that full circle and use it alongside a love of meditation as well is a chance to really put myself on the proverbial canvas. It was likely the easiest thing I've had to create in years because of this. It just flowed out. So please remember to practice your own self-care, not just for you, but those around you. Breathe, be mindful, and be well. Now the penguin is saying, take some time for you today. Quiet your mind through the power of meditation and deep thought. Give yourself permission to be rather than do all the time, rather than think all the time. Reap the benefits of calm, quiet, still mind, and come back to your task, your day, your life refreshed from this time with yourself. The penguin is aquatic and he's flightless, and he lives a life full of challenges. We've all seen videos of them narrowly escaping from some predator or huddled together to achieve warmth in the coldest of environments. But regardless of these hardships, penguins can stand and just be in the sun and snow, and while we cannot ask them their intentions, they seem to enjoy it. There is a grace, a peace to these beautiful, serene birds that make them perfect for the meditation card. So the key words here are intention, thought, balance, and the element is air and water. And it makes me think a little bit of Eckhart Tolle again, and his very important and helpful book, The Power of Now, which is all about just being in the moment. And so some people get turned off by the word meditation, or they think meditation, oh no, I don't have time for that. And I get you, because I've been there. But meditation doesn't have to be like necessarily sitting with your legs crossed and your fingers in a certain position and breathing in slowly and not thinking any thoughts. But on the other hand, it can be that, of course, if you have time for like really getting into it, then do that. But meditation, you can find it in lots of ways. Like one of the ways that you can meditate is by simply sort of unplugging from the world, the hustle and bustle. If you have even just 10 minutes to give to yourself, where you could be anywhere, just standing outside, staring into space. If you have to look at something, look at a bird doing its bird things, or look at nature, stare at an ant doing its ant things. You know, that kind of thing is kind of just being. And so it's just a being in the moment where nothing else exists, where it's just you in the moment, and that's it. And you can do that too in walking. I know walking is an activity, but if you walk and you don't let your mind race to your day, what's the next thing I need to do? You just think about your steps if you want to think about something. Sometimes I find the best way to meditate without having to think of things is counting my breath, or listening to my breath, or focusing on my breath. So I'm like, I think to myself, in and out, or 1, 2, 3. I count sometimes. And that, I mean, just counting to yourself can sometimes like relieve any other noise that's in your head. There's times where you can follow a guided meditation. I love guided meditations, because even though sometimes your mind can drift still with a guided meditation, meditations kind of help you stay focused on particular visuals, and that can be very helpful too. So there's lots of ways to go about it. What I've been just incorporating, if nothing else, every morning, maybe I sit and let my favorite Reiki person do his Reiki thing, and every evening I listen to some uplifting music to sleep by, and those two things can really help. I'm just listening to intentional music, like music that's made with a certain beat or a certain frequency to help you in certain areas in your life, can be a kind of meditation where you don't actually have to do anything. The speaking types of meditations can be very helpful, because if you don't know what to think, the speaking person will tell you, hey, don't worry about it, just let it come to you. It's yours, it's coming to you, your abundance, whatever. And then that just helps you sort of kind of release the pressure on yourself. So, and it's interesting that death came out next to it, because it does, because when you are in a really great state, when you really have released and cleared everything, it's kind of like, it's like a blank slate. It's like a white space. Sometimes it's not necessarily black, right? It's not devoid of color necessarily. It's just it can be any color. It just feels clear. That's all. And sometimes you'll find when you like really go into deep meditation where you're like meeting masters and all that, sometimes it feels sort of like traveling in a tunnel, or lights flashing by you, or a wave kind of feeling. So you guys let me know if you get into really, really deep meditations, what kind of sensations come over you when that happens, and let me know. All right, so death. Here you just see a deer's skull, and this is art by Jessica Douglas. And the skull represents new life, and you can see the new life with the moss and the mushrooms coming around, and the lichen that grows from the remains of the deer. And the plants provide a safe nest for the moths to enact their own change. And then going from a simple caterpillar into the death's head moths that unfurl their wings on the stag's antlers. So you can see the playing out of renewal of life right there before your very eyes. And then finally, the unexpected and exciting representation of the crystals that grow from the skull. When confronted with terrifying change, there's always the possibility for hope and brilliant surprises. The difficulty with the Death card, because it's in the major arcana and it's so very powerful, it could be some kind of change that you haven't really fully prepared for. But I feel like once, in most, to be honest, most of us don't even like change, even in small ways. We're very much creatures of habit. But when you accept the small change or the big change or whatever it is, then you find things actually get better after the change happens. The new life is actually more fulfilling and more exciting. The transition part is just the hard part, and it can be painful sometimes, but mostly I think it's just daunting. It's just a little new and just a little scary, So the message from this stag skull / moth is, even at the end, there's always a beginning. It may seem almost impossible to believe when you're there, but it's true. Such is the way of life, of death. Embrace the opportunity to make change, real change in your life. Rid yourself of everything you no longer need. Prune away the dead wood to make room for essential growth and beautiful new life. And I've just got a message, like in a mundane reading, a day-to-day. In other words, these are daily readings, and so they don't have to be necessarily something huge and profound. It can be a simple daily thing, as in, let's say you have plants around your house that have died, or, it's time to clear away the dead branches. It's time to time to rake your leaves even. Those kinds of things can be a very, very good and energy renewing to your home, to your environment. So that could be something that you might be working on as well. And so it feels like today is just kind of a peaceful day where you're not required to do a lot. You're just allowed to be. And if you are in the mood, then clear away some things that have served their life. The passage of a tree limb, a plant. I cut a few dead tree limbs today, just to tidy up and to make it look fresher, and things like that. The stag is also a symbol of regeneration, and with the moth symbolizing change and rebirth, even the resurrection after death, the pairing of the stag's skull showing the death with the moth flying freely past it, moving on and transforming death into life anew, seems the perfect partnership for death. And the key words are endings and beginnings and transformation and rebirth. And you know what? Sometimes these can just represent people too. So maybe you're talking to a Scorpio today, like me. And the Halloween season is all about Scorpio season too. We're about to enter, what is today? We're getting real close to the Scorpio season as well. So Scorpio is all about life and rebirth and renewal, and just that cycle, and seeing it in everyday ways. It doesn't always have to be huge dramatic things. Like little small changes can be very good to the energy flow around you. And so the element there is water, and let's move on to the High Priestess. She's very adorable. Of course, it's a cat. And this is by Camellia Freschi. The High Priestess reigns over the realm of the subconscious, guiding us to pause a moment and listen to our intuition. I've depicted her with the traditional black and white pillars representing the entry to the subconscious and the balance between light and dark. I believe a cat to be the perfect animal to represent this card, and these beautiful creatures are associated with the feminine, mystery, balance, and the spiritual realm, much like this card, and they have a certain wisdom and uncanny knowing in their eyes. I tried to create this effect in my painting and represent my priestess as a divine spiritual being and mentor. I think she really did it. She has that very mystical knowing in her kitty cat's eyes. And yeah, so a lot of you could be like doing some real heavy meditation where you could even actually be astral traveling and things like that. Just really, really, really tapping deeply into your subconscious. It could be a day that you just dedicated to that, you know, to that kind of being today, just plain being without actually doing anything. And that's really, really interesting and good. So it feels like just your own personal retreat. That's a great way to just retreat. You know, just let go of all the jobs that you have for one day, and you don't have to fill it with leisure. You can just fill it with being. So the cat is saying, what exactly do you want to know that you don't already? I can let you through, but you have to be willing to learn, to ask the right questions. You have to listen to what I am going to teach you, to what the universe is already teaching you, to the voice within you telling you everything you already know. Are you prepared to listen? Cats are just such a part of our lives, and yet so separate, keeping themselves distant, unattainable. They are creatures of mysteries that we are drawn to, compelled to love, and we are desperate to learn their secrets, to gain their approval. Such a symbol of mystery and intuition, and even witchy ways and ancient traditions. The cat is a perfect selection for the high priestess. And some of you may not even like cats. Some of you may love cats and have your own familiar just like me. So yeah, if you do, especially if you do have a cat, and if they are a familiar, then you know that you have that extra help from your cat to tap into the spiritual realms. They're there for kind of an assistance to you. But it's not a requirement. Somebody asked me the other night during live, do all spiritual people have to have a familiar? I'm like, nope, not that I know of, you know, and you don't have to seek one. I think the cat just finds you, and it doesn't always have to be a cat. It can be other creatures, and maybe not a creature that's even domestic. Maybe a special bird comes by every once in a while to check on you. So it could be lots of things that, you know, lots of creatures that you feel this connection with. Could even be a little spider. I mean, lots of creatures. So the keywords are intuition, mysteries, sacred wisdom, and the astrological association is the moon. And this is the first time I've ever seen association with Virgo, but that's interesting. I like that. And the element is water again. And so what I'm getting is a kind of peaceful, quiet day. Sometimes you may ponder, you know, life and death too, and where you fit into the world. And sometimes when there's major things going on outside the world, stuff like that always can come up, you know, in our psyche. It could be a good day, you know. I'm reading for a Saturday, but there could be a lot of you who are going to some kind of religious thing or vigil or something like that. That's possibly something there. Or you could be going to some kind of group thing where you're tapping into a spiritual connection with others somehow. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but that's possible. Sometimes group activities, even if they're a concert or any, you know, if there's more than one person gathered for a particular thing, it kind of unites people in sort of a soulful way. So that's kind of interesting too. Although I do see with the penguin there that it probably most likely will be just you on your own tapping into little time just to be. So enjoy that and ponder the beauty of how the circle of life, of how life just comes back again. And I hope you like that. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust. you.